On behalf of the government of BTR and on behalf of our Honorable CEM of Borderland Territorial Region, Pramod Boroji, I wish all the esteemed panelists, fellow social workers, and dear students and friends who are present here today, very good morning and namaskar to all of you. I would just like to mention that Pramod Boroji will be present here in the afternoon. So this is an information to all of you. So it is with profound humility and a deep sense of responsibility that I stand before you at this inaugural first Northeast Social Work Conclave. The beautiful state of Assam, and particularly if we say the entire Northeast region, have witnessed both tremendous challenges and remarkable resilience over the decades. As someone who has walked the path of social work from a young age, I feel privileged to share this journey with you all today. My journey into social work began not as a career choice, but as a response to witnessing inequality and suffering during my adolescence. The riots and violence I encountered early in life ignited a commitment to stand with those in need, in crisis, and in poverty. And this commitment was further strengthened while pursuing my education in social work, which provided me tools to transform compassion into effective action. Today I can only speak from my own experience. However, even though I have worked mostly among the Santhal Adivasi communities, social work is beyond that, and social work is not limited to work for the betterment of a specific or a particular community, but it serves humanity with our hearts filled with love and our minds determined to uphold the philosophy of equity and to ensure justice even in the grassroots and in the remote areas of our region. The Northeast region, with its rich cultural tapestry and unique socio-economic landscape, presents both distinctive challenges and opportunities for social work practitioners. The role of professional social workers in our region is evolving rapidly. No longer are we merely service providers, we are becoming agents of systemic change, bridging the critical gap between grassroots work and policy impact. When I began working among the Santhal and Adivasi communities in Assam, among most neglected and deprived in our state, I learned that sustainable change requires more than good intentions. It demanded professional training, strategic thinking, and collaborative approaches. These communities taught me more than I could ever teach them about resilience and dignity in the face of adversity. The Northeast is not a monolith but a mosaic of diverse states, as we all know, each with its unique challenges and strengths. In Manipur, we have witnessed the transformative work of Bina Lakshmi Nepram, whose Manipur Women Gun Services Network has been healing communities affected by conflict and violence. In Meghalaya, the tireless efforts of Patricia Mukim have not only highlighted social issues through journalism, but created platforms for community dialogue and reconciliation. In Nagaland, the work of Dr. Akung Longchari through the Peace Channel have shown how social work can be a powerful tool for peace building and inter-community harmony. Meanwhile, in Mizoram, leaders like Lanai Tuangi have revolutionized rural livelihood through sustainable bamboo crafts initiatives, demonstrating how social work can blend economic empowerment with environmental conservation. In Arunachal Pradesh has seen remarkable community-led conservation efforts with social workers like Tage Kano bridging traditional knowledge systems with modern conservation practices. In Tripura, organizations like Voluntary Health Association have demonstrated the power of participatory approaches in addressing public health challenges in tribal communities. And specifically, if we speak about Borderland Territorial Region, Pramod Boroji had really played a very crucial role in bringing peace among different communities, and now we are promoting Borderland Happiness Mission as a reconciliation process. The Northeast requires social work practitioners who understand our unique context. Our region's strength lies in its diversity, but this also means our approaches must be culturally responsive and locally rooted. During my time at People's Action for Development, which is an NGO where I worked since 2011, I witnessed how culturally appropriate interventions yielded far greater results than one-size-fits-all solutions imported from elsewhere. I must express my deepest gratitude to Indian Awaz Foundation and particularly to Nazim Ahmed for making a program like this possible. Gatherings such as this conclave are not merely academic exercises. They are crucial platforms for knowledge exchange, solidarity building, and collective visioning. In a region where geographical barriers often limit cross-learning, platforms like the Northeast Social Work Conclave allow us to share strategies, challenges, and innovations across state lines. This conclave also serves a vital purpose in bringing visibility to the unique context of social work practices in Northeast, a context that is often overlooked in national discourses. By documenting our experiences and insights, we contribute to a more nuanced understanding of social work that reflects the diversity of our country. As Margaret Mead said, even our founder of Indian Awaz Foundation, Nazim Ahmed, mentioned that we may be few today, but Margaret Mead said that never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Most importantly, gathering like this renew our spirit and mind and remind us that we are not alone in this challenging work. The energy of collective purpose that fills this hall today will sustain many of us through the difficult days that inevitably come in social work practice. The CSR perspectives, which I believe represents a crucial opportunity for our region. During my tenure as Director at People's Action for Development, I saw firsthand how partnership with various organizations and agencies created sustainable pathways for development. These collaborations allowed us to implement humanitarian projects that touched thousands of lives across the region. However, these partnerships succeed only when built on mutual respect and shared vision. Corporate entities, NGOs, and government bodies must work as equal stakeholders, each bringing their unique strengths to table. In Bodoland, we have seen remarkable examples of such collaborations transforming communities, particularly in post-conflict rehabilitation efforts. My experiences working with marginalized farmers and assisting communities during the NRC process revealed how critical professional social work is in navigating complex socio-political realities. When people, especially those marginalized, poor, and illiterate, faced overwhelming bureaucratic challenges, it was trained social workers who helped translate procedures into accessible process and rights into realities. The communities of Northeast India the communities of Northeast India need allies and advocates like us who will stand with them as they chart their own course toward justice and development. This requires humility on our part, the willingness to listen before we speak, to learn before we teach, and to follow before we lead. As an executive member of the Bodoland Territorial Council, I now view social work through a broader lens of governance and policy implementation. I see how critical it is to have trained social work professionals informing policy decisions and program designs. The social worker's perspective, grounded in community realities yet informed by professional training, is invaluable in creating inclusive development models. The pledge activity planned for today, which has already started, is more than symbolic. It represents our collective commitment to a Northeast where development leaves no one behind, where the underprivileged and marginalized communities, the displaced populations, persons with disabilities, women, youth, all have equal access to opportunities and justice. Dear friends, social work is perhaps one of the most challenging yet rewarding paths one can choose. There will be days when progress seems impossible, when systemic barriers appear insurmountable, and when personal resources run thin. On such days, remember that you are not alone in this journey. The very communities we serve offer us strength, wisdom, and perspective that renews our purpose. As we look ahead, I would like to leave with you these thoughts to ponder, which perhaps I could not step upon to shorten the time frame of my speech. The most transformative social work happens not when we speak for communities, but when we amplify their voices until they no longer need amplification. True development in the Northeast will come not from importing solutions, but recognizing that our cultural diversity is itself the solution to many of our challenges. Perhaps the greatest measure of our success as social workers is not how many people we have helped, but how many communities no longer need our help because they reclaim their power. As we reflect on these ideas together, I am confident that the Northeast will emerge as a model of inclusive, sustainable, and culturally responsive social work practice. I am deeply grateful for the opportunity to share these thoughts with you today and look forward to the rich discussions that will unfold throughout this conclave. Thank you, and may our collective wisdom guide us toward a more just and equitable Northeast. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wilson Hasda. Those inspiring and enlightening words will surely lead to a more inclusive and equitable society in the near future, and we hope to build a basic foundation here through the course of today's program. Our volunteers will felicitate Mr. Wilson Hasda, Executive Member of BTR. Thank you for your enlightening speech. That was so inspiring and will help us as social workers to pave our way in this world as an efficient and a worthwhile social worker. Mr. Wilson Hasda from the BTR, Executive Member of the BTR, huge round of applause. Thank you, Mr. Wilson Hasda, for your inspiring leadership and for being the guiding lights representing the Bogolan Territorial Region at the first Northeast Social Work Conclave. Your contributions continue to impact lives in profound ways, and we are truly privileged to have you with us today. As we move forward with today's sessions, I encourage each one of you to actively participate once again, share your experiences, and engage in the spirit of collaboration. Together, we can build a stronger network of social work professionals dedicated to transforming lives, advocating for change, and ensuring that every voice is heard. Now, we are about to dive into our first panel discussion of the Northeast Social Work Conclave 2025, which will address an incredibly important topic that is central to the future of social work: the need for professional social workers. Social workers play an indispensable role in shaping the future of societies, especially in creating inclusive communities that prioritize equity, justice, and dignity for all. As we continue to evolve as a society, the role of professional social workers has become even more crucial. This discussion will explore several key aspects, including the evolving responsibilities of social workers, the importance of formal education and training, the challenges faced by young professionals, and how we can bridge the gap between grassroots work and policy making to make lasting change. We are thrilled to have a panel of distinguished experts who will offer valuable insights into these topics. May I now invite Fahia Fameen Chaudhary, Outreach Coordinator of IAF, and Surangana Gogoi, Ms. Fahia Famin Chaudhary, Outreach Coordinator for IAF, and Surandana Gogoi, Founding Member of IAF. Please come to the stage to felicitate our first panel. The first panelist for the session this morning is Dr. Razdan Salim Rehman. Dr. Rehman has been working as an assistant professor at Guwahati Off-Campus Optics. He earned his MA and PhD from Jamia Millia Islamia's Department of Social Work. He is former Senior Research Fellow of the Indian Council of Medical Research (ICMR) and UGC NET qualified. He began his professional career with Pradhan and subsequently worked with Sambodhi Research and Communications as a researcher. He has been impaneled as research and training consultant for development organizations such as NIPCCD, UNFPA, NECFI, and others. The second panelist for this session is Miraj Ahmed, founder of the Northeast Center for Equity Action on Integrated Development, NEAID. Miraj Ahmed has a rich background in public health and education. Starting his career in print journalism, Miraj transitioned to the National Health Mission (NHM), where he specialized in social behavioral communication for change. His work spans government projects, international and national NGOs, CSRs, and consulting. He also has been part of a public health intervention with Chapiego, an affiliate of Johns Hopkins University for Mother and Child Survival Program with focus on family planning component in Assam. Notably, he also contributed to the G20 by supporting the Ministry of Labour and Employment for the Employment Working Group EWG and L20 under India's G20 presidency. The next and final panelist in this session is Bijoy Shankar Das. Mr. Bijoy Shankar Das is currently Associate Director, School of Continuing Education and University Resource Center, Azim Premji University, Bangalore. He anchors Azim Premji Foundation's education work in all the 8 northeastern states and Jammu and Kashmir. He joined Azim Premji Foundation in 2006 after completing postgraduate diploma in rural management from Indian Institute of Rural Management, Jaipur. He has worked intensively in Karnataka, Rajasthan, Delhi, Uttarakhand, and in other states of India towards improving the quality of public education system. The panel will be moderated by Joyita Bhattacharjee, Assistant Professor at Royal Global University. A huge round of applause to our first panel, everybody. The topic of discussion is the need for professional social workers. Joyita, over to you.
A warm good morning to everyone present here. I am Joyita Bhattacharjee. I am an assistant professor of social work at the Royal Global University, and I am pleased to be invited as the moderator for this session. Before anything else, I would just like to reiterate that the International Social Work Day every year provides a platform for the entire community of social workers to come together. And when I say community, I mean not only academicians or not only social activists, not only those practicing on field, but even scholars, students and the likes, who are united in this ambition to bring social transformation and change. And I'm deeply indebted to have been a part of this creative and ever-inspiring community. With that, the theme of this panel discussion is the need for professional social workers. To start off with, I want to say that everyone here, I think, has at some point been a part of questions or speculations on what exactly does this discipline even entail. So many people have asked me personally, be they industrial experts, academicians, or professors from different fields, I've always found them asking me, ये social work होता क्या है? आप लोग करते क्या हैं? And you know, when it comes to talking about the professional aspects of it, they would often wonder, why would a student need professional skills if this is such a professional course? Why would a student need to be equipped with anything else but to study in the classroom? And I'm really hopeful that this discussion will provide us many insights into the same. And without much ado, therefore, may I have permission from the panel to start with the questions? All right. So the first thing that I wanted to ask was a set of two interconnected questions. How would you describe social work as a professional discipline, and what challenges and opportunities are available for young professionals in social work? I would hand over to Miraj sir first.
Thank you. Honored my panel members, my friend Nazim, and all distinguished guests, and all friends present here. First of all, I thank for today's special day. This is Social Work Day, and on today we are having such a productive discussion, such an important issue. And on your question, so I totally agree with you. Like social work, still it's in Northeast. If we see in Northeast context, it's something not seen as a professional, professional work. It's mostly emotional or under quotes social commitment work. So many people still wonder why we need professional social workers. So first, my opinion I'm sharing with you is no, you don't need to be a MSW or BSW or a professional to do social work. Social work has been done in our country. If you see our cultural tradition, it has been done from ages. And even pre-independence, if you see during independent movement, many social reform works were done. And there are many reformers who were from different background and not typically in social work professional background. At that time there was no such course or so. And even if you see, we have many social workers. I would like to point a few, Jadar Payam, and Kailash Satyarthi sir, others. They are not, professional social workers by virtue of qualification. So yeah, we don't need professional social workers to do social work. But again, I am adding that to do social work, you have to have a social commitment. Anybody cannot do social work. They need to have a social commitment that I will do something for my society, for my people. And then after that, if you are a professional social worker, it helps you do your work more efficiently and professionally. That's where it adds. So if you are not an MSW, can you do social work? Yes, you can do. But being an MSW, does it help to do your work more professionally or efficiently, do a better impact, reach out to more people? Yes, it does help because you are trained in that. You know the nuances of social work. And talking talking about social work as a career. Many young professionals are taking social work as a professional. So now, when you do professionally, whether you are part of a small organization or a big corporate or CSR, there are new compliances that you have to follow. Organizations and individuals, they have to follow these compliances, and whether it's foreign grant program implementation, CSR project implementation. So there are lots of compliances and rules that you have to follow. And for these you need professional people who will do the social work. Now, so if you receive a grant for a donor and you just think that I will do such and such, suppose I will distribute books to children. It's not as simple as that. You need to develop a plan, a proposal, then you have to do a baseline, you have to develop a team, train them, implement the program, do an impact assessment. So there are lots of multiple levels of work that are done, and for that in your team you need professional social workers. And I think if we have any organization which does not have professional social workers, it's very difficult, if not impossible, for them to work today professionally in the social sector. And I'm happy to see like institutions like Royal Global University and TASE and others, they are offering very courses on social work, and they are giving exposure to their students. But I know the challenges the students are facing. If you compare the whole, monetarily, if you compare the fund allotment for Northeast, how much CSR or fund is, social work fund is for Northeast is less than, I think, 5%. If I am not wrong, sir. Yes, less than 5%. It's a very small amount. And I feel I have seen students and young people from all over India. So the students coming out from our Northeast, they have very good professionally. They are very well trained and they have very good scope. So, but when they pass out and if they want to work in Northeast, the scope is very less. There are very few corporates and very few projects that you do. So it might sound very negative, but the scope is little bit less currently, and it is very competitive. So I usually suggest many interns, they from different institutions, they come to our organization. But I advise them, if you get an opportunity, start your career outside of Northeast. If you get an opportunity, get that exposure, then come back to your region. So you don't have to depend on any organization or corporate to hire you. Even you can start as a social entrepreneur. So you have to have that mentality of professional social worker and a social entrepreneur both, and be open to new ideas, exploring new areas in social work. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I invite Razdan sir to share his views now?
Yeah, thanks, Joyita. And thanks again to the organizers for inviting us to celebrate this day. As a matter of fact, I was just wondering that why we have not all these many years ever organized a program on the International Social Work Day. So the beginning has already been done, and I'm not worried about the numbers because in this age of information technology, whatever that is happening inside this hall is going to pass on to the people around. It is incumbent upon us, me, you, who are sitting and listening, if we can just spread the word that there is something called social work that happens. And again, a point that Joyita has rightly said, that everyone can claim to be a social worker, but there is some kind of a professional adage that you have to associate with this discipline. Of course, there are certain methods which unknowingly the likes of Kailash Satyarthi and others, they have been following, but we are the ones who are actually theorizing it. We are the ones who are writing it, documenting it and passing it over to the students so that once they go into the field, they practice there. Many times the students are also like a bit confused that whatever that has been taught in the classroom, is it easy to practice there in the field or not. So for social work, the lab is the world. So for a physicist or maybe a biologist and all, the lab is a very confined space where everything is under control. But for social worker, the lab is so uncontrolled, so unorganized, so organic, and where you have to deal with the rigors of life on a, like every day is a battle. And it's kind of a thankless job as well, no? Like no one gives that kind of respect to a social worker, the kind of respect maybe a doctor or lawyer is getting. Again, that comes from the professional existential crisis as well that this discipline is facing. But that is also giving us a challenge, no? Like there will come a time when this will be accorded kind of a professional respect. I tell you a story, like I'm very fond of telling stories to my students, and I'm very happy to see many of my old students who are sitting here as professionals. So my chest is like just broadened up a bit. So the story goes like there was an implementing organization, a very good friend of mine, and then they said that Razan, look, had the donors not instructed us, we won't have hired the social workers. So since the requirement came from the donors that your organogram, your HR policy should include them as well, so we are bound to take in the social workers. So then I asked him that why are you so like doubtful about the social workers? And then he said in the last 5 years the highest dropouts have been of the social workers. So they are the ones who are coming with the heavy jargons and the heavy words and things. But when it comes to walk the talk, I find that the engineers and the management students and the cooperative students who have learned cooperatives and all, they are working the field more like for a longer period of time than the social workers. So they are using our organization as like a launch pad that we'll work there for 3 months, 6 months and so, and then we'll look out for something like which is more remunerative and things. So there are many such, I won't call them a crisis, these are the challenges. And that is where we get a lot of opportunities also to delve into how we can prepare the students. I'll just take a minute and then, because I don't want to bore the audience here, but an important point is when we do the mapping of the students who come to the social work institutions, a significant chunk of them, I'm sorry to say I'm using this word, are kind of residual choices that they have made. Their first choice was maybe not a social work, their first choice may have been something else. And residual choice is made up of 2 reasons. One is that they were a bit afraid of the numbers, maths. So since they could not pursue a career in maths, they could not become a science graduate, so they had to take a choice. So earlier the choice used to be commerce. Now the choice has been broadened to social work as well. Sir, ma'am, since we were not very good with numbers, so we have chosen social work. And second is, since we could not qualify bank PO or something, so we have taken in social work because we are of this belief that we will be recruited somehow, somewhere. So the recruitment rate is high. The only thing is that the payment scale is very low. So as an engineer, you get and you demand and you get like a much higher salary. But so far as the absorptibility in the sector is concerned, it's much higher in the social work discipline. So again, the point that I made that many of you are listening us, but I want this message to be taken far in mind to those who are thinking of that what are the career choices that they should make. Social work is definitely going to be one. Despite all the AIs and the machine learning thing that is happening, poverty is something that requires human touch. The machine can't remove that poverty. It can't make someone healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Listening to you is always insightful. May I request Bijoy sir to also share his opinion?
Thank you, Lita. First of all, thanks to the organizers for inviting me for this special day. I love collaboration, and when this kind of collectives, voluntary collectives where people who want to contribute to the society, they get together and chat together, whatever number it is. I agree with you that number doesn't matter. I remember when I was in the district of Sidohi, Rajasthan, long back. That time we were experimenting on concept of voluntary teacher forum. I am basically an education practitioner. So voluntary teacher forum is a concept where we don't invite people come by themselves, right? So in the initial forums, 1-2 teachers to come, and from Azindra Foundation, the resource persons are more than the teachers. But now, over the years, the voluntary teacher forums have grown like anything. In many voluntary teacher forums, more than 50 teachers come and they invite us. So this is the strength of collective collaboration. So hats off to the organizers. On the question Joyita asked on the professional social workers, I think the professional approach is the main thing. You know, whatever degree you are having, MSW or I have a degree of PhD, RN, rural management. Degree doesn't matter until unless your approach is professional. For example, you study science, but if you don't follow scientific approach, scientific inquiry, then your science education is not for you, right? So for social work, I think people say you should be passionate, you should have that intent, good intent, but your approach, and now social work is a domain which is booming, not now, from last decades booming. As a social work student, almost 2 decades I am trying to contribute to the society. But what I feel, and that's why Azim Foundation started as Azim University after 10 years of operation, with a feeling that without good professionals, the kind of social change we are imagining is not possible. It's not like that we joke the people who are not professionally qualified to work as a social change agent, they cannot make the change. But the demand is that we have to also aware about many things. For example, if you don't know the context of the geography, you have to know the context of the geography, and context of the geography is not possible only living in the geography. You have to study a lot. They have the history about the social political affairs, and also the domain understanding. Social work is a huge, sea of various domains. For example, suppose you want to work for livelihoods. If you don't know the intricacies of livelihood domain, then contributing, however passionate you are, but if you don't know the domain in the right way, then you will not contribute. So that's why I think this is the right time to discuss about this thing, that professionalism is very much important in the social sector. Yeah. And as an organization, we are trying to help the government education system. So one of the things which we are trying to promote is that the teachers, the head teachers, the education functionaries need to be very professional. The accountability part, the commitment part should come from that professionalism, right? So I think if you ask me, I think more than the professional degree we get, the professionalism, the professional approach we are having is more important.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your views. As I gathered from the esteemed panel, that being an agent of change, though possible with the desire in everyone, something that marks us as distinct perhaps would be this expertise or the picking up of tools in professionally delivering what we see in theory to practice on field. That actually brings me to my next question. As social workers or as social work professionals, how can we translate grassroots work into policy? May we begin with Miraj sir again?
So the question you ask, it's as simple as the question may look. The gap between the grassroots and the policy is still huge. Okay. So we have seen day to day many policies that are being formed and how it turned out to be enrolled. And from my experience, I have viewed that no policy. Suppose or today a policy is formed, framed, and it's constituted that this from now this policy is the standard you have to follow. No policy is perfect when it is constituted. It needs to be open to the requirement on ground at the grassroots, how your policy is rolling down. Because sometimes it happens the policies when they are made, there are many factors, external factors that affect the policy making decision, and the grassroots realities is one of that, but it is not the only factor. But those factors, when it rolls down to the very ground, the last beneficiary, the last person who is at the receiving end of that decision, how they are finding it, that is important. And so the link between I feel the grassroots and the policy making is it's a two-way thing. Once when the policy is formation, all the factors needs to be considered and the policy makers need to be open that okay, this is the policy we made. As it rolls on for a year or two for certain time, then on basis of the feedback or the gaps we identify, we'll modify the policy. With that open approach, I think that is something which is doable currently in current situation because we have seen and in a country like India where we have such diverse geography, diverse culture, language, people, their central policy when it is passed down to everyone to follow, it has to be open to customization of the respective state or respective region. One policy which might work very well in Rajasthan or Tamil Nadu might not work in Nagaland or Assam. So maybe the concept, the core of the policy will be there. It's the same. Okay, the core of the policy. But the regional customization, the regional requirement, that has to be assessed and that included in the policy. So that flexibility has to be there at the policymakers level and from the grassroots. And grassroots, when we say grassroots, the people they don't speak. We social organizations, social workers, we represent them or we talk on behalf of them. So it is our duty to document these gaps or issues and send it to the policymakers level so that it comes to their view. So yeah, that's my opinion.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, the social context definitely plays a great part in implementation or execution of any policy, like you said. Razdan sir, may I request to hear from you?
I won't particularly talk on the policy, but the social work discipline has been a very humble discipline. Like we don't take credit for many things that we have done, and somehow what happens though that the good work that you do, you also need to lobby and make it like visible to the people at large. Like I guess that many of you are aware about this number. It's a toll-free number called 1098. So 1098 is a toll-free number. Anyone who can from the audience, are you aware about this number 1098? What is it? So it's a number for a child in distress. Any child who is abandoned, who is then is stranded. So that is the simplest number that the child has to dial, and that number is redirected to one of the child organization. Now this was an every project of a scholarly ISS, and from that project, the government got to understand that this can be such a beautiful exercise to protect the children who are under stress. And it is not only a child who can die, even an adult can die if an adult finds a child who is abused, is under problem. So an immediate recourse is needed for such a person. And I'm just giving this example because there are scores of such examples. I can take hours and hours to explain like this entire SHG movement that we are all talking about. This entire NRLM, the National Rural Livelihood Mission, which has its own state chapters. Who's the progenitor of this? Like it did not come to the government. It actually was the experiments done by the social workers, social activists, and the people who were seeing poverty from close quarters. I'm not denying that government does not look at it, but there is something out of box thinking that we also have to do. And many of times these out of box thinking have given us certain models which the government have taken up, and then they have like replicated it and institutionalized it. SRLM, the entire edifice of the work of the livelihood missions. I'm just taking the name of SRLM because it is an SR. The edifice of it is the SHGs. How strong the volunteer organizations are at the village level, and through which you are going to put your livelihood interventions. If you look into all the small models which are being followed under the NRHM, which has now become NHM, where we talk about the ASHA activists. So ASHA activists was like a Bitarin project that was started in Chhattisgarh. I think that it was part of Madhya Pradesh. So we understood that we have resources in the village where we just have to train a village woman how she can become an ASHA activist, and she can be like a first reference for a woman who is in need of any medical support. Right to Food Program, Right to Information Act, MG Narega, midday meal scheme, none of these were like, it did not dawn upon the government, it did not dawn upon the parliamentarian. It actually came to a social worker, someone who was looking at a social problem from a very close quarter. So again, all these were enacted. So again, the government of the day also took cognizance, realized that these are going to like help the population come out of the distress. Be it unemployment, be it food security, be it dropout rate. So one will wonder that why a child is not attending the school. And then they found that the child is not attending the school because the child is hungry. So why don't we integrate something in the school? So the traditional notion of a school is that it is only about books and copies. No one thought about that the school can also be the place where a child can eat. And you will be wondering that there are many schools like I am now, like my family is in Delhi. So there are certain elite schools where they are providing the meal to the children because most of the children they are having working parents. And it has become so easy for the mothers that they don't have to worry about that who is going to prepare the breakfast or the lunch for the child. The school is taking cognizance of this. And I was talking to one of the principals and she very proudly said that this came to us only through the midday meal scheme. Our school has been running for ages. It's a very old school, very popular. And we never thought that we can also provide the children. And they are talking about elite children. The learning has come from the poor children. So, I don't have examples for the policy. Of course, these best practices, they convert into a theory of practice, they convert into a most significant change, then they are institutionalized, they are made into a policy statement, they are taken up by the government, they are passed through the parliament bills, they are made into an act, and that is how you are empowering people as well. Just like to again conclude, like just 2 days from now, KIS's Guwahati campus is organizing Innovive. Innovive is, we have a very small e-cell, entrepreneurship cell. So again, a concept that was developed in the technical institutes, IITs and all, they have their own entrepreneurship cell. Our students, they can't create drones. But our students definitely know where the drones can be used. Who is that last person in the village for whom a drone can be of any applicability? Many times I also go as a jury for those pitch fests. I am invited in IT as well. And many times the jurors, they have the question that this robot is fantastic. But this robot can only show its worth in this hall. How effective this robot will be when it is going to the field. So that is where we are again making a kind of a policy statement that the things that are being created in the lab, how are they going to be made of any use in the field. So that is how we are taking the best practices from the ground and taking it into policy so that everyone gets equal benefit.
Thank you so much, sir. May I request Vijay sir to express his thoughts?
Yeah, it's a very important question. See, gone are the days where people used to say that policies are made in AC rooms and nobody consults. Okay? And it's a very, in the current context, it's not true. As an organization, as an individual, I was fortunate enough to part of this whole new discussion on National Education Policy 2020, and then now all the new curricular frameworks are coming up. Already 2 curricular frameworks are already here, another 2 are coming. So there is a kind of the first question of your the professional approach to social work. Yeah, the balance between theory and practice. Most of the courses we study so much of theory, and by the time we get into our work, the professional career, many things we don't know. So that's why now there is a focus on the professional social work courses, well balanced between theory and practice, more practice than theory. कि करना क्या है? We studied a lot about economic theories, development theories, but how to understand that ये होता कैसे, how it happens in the society, how it will contribute. So this journey goes to the policies. I agree with both my family friends that whatever the social workers are doing for ages, many of those things are now into the policies. And now the NEP 2020, the whole process is bottoms up. Initially the policies, what people used to do, the policy, because there is a committee, they make the policy, and then also they ask for suggestions from others. But this time the whole process of National Education Policy 2022 is from the bottom. First many of you know, I'm not saying anything new, but the village level committees, the block level committees, they started the process. It went to the district level, and then the state level, and then it went to the national level. So I think this is because of the pressure created by the whole social worker community, because the policy should be informed by the work done in the ground level, and the vice versa, the ground level work. That's where the first question comes in. When I was talking about professionalism, our work also should be informed by the policies. If you don't know the policies, then sometimes you also say many things in the air, right? So nowadays, I think the gap between the practice and the policies are now reducing, and most of the policies are informed by the work done by the people in the ground, and many ground workers now they follow the policy, because policies are now, again the example of NEP is that things are not in the 10,000 feet. Things are, demonstrable things. Things are understandable things. You can, when you read document like NEP 2022, you can see that there are many examples. It's not only the theoretical principles. The examples how it can happen in the classroom, right? So yeah, so the gap is reduced, and I think we are going to the right direction.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, it has been actually very eye-opening to hear the panel as of now. Social workers have played a part in creating an inverted approach to making policy. Like Razan sir rightfully said, earlier we would conceptualize policy making inside AC rooms or by a government that maybe was not so much in touch with grassroots. But here's where social workers have come in. They have first started with practice, and then that pressure or perhaps that intent has been created to invert the entire approach and have it in practice first. So that really makes a lot of sense. That actually brings me to my next question. What can then be the role of a social worker in transforming the society as a whole? For example, even the focus of this discussion says that there is a focus in creating an inclusive society for all, or bringing quality education, or even reforms in public policy. So what do we then summarize or say can the social worker do to create transformation? Again, I would like to begin with Miraj sir on this one.
Thank you. এটা মই কথা এটা ক'ব খুজিছোঁ যে আমি এজ এ কাণ্ট্ৰি দেশ হিচাপে আমি বিকশিত দেশ এতিয়াও হোৱা নাই, ঠিক আছে। কিন্তু ভাৰত এখন বিকশিত দেশ হ'ব মানে অন দ্য ভাৰ্জ অফ, আমি আগবাঢ়ি গৈ আছোঁ। আমি ক'ব নোৱাৰোঁ যে আমি এতিয়া বহুত চাইনাতকৈ আগত আছোঁ বা ইউএছতকৈ আগত, ক'ব নোৱাৰোঁ, কিন্তু আমি সেই দিশত বহুত আগবাঢ়ি আছোঁ। আজি আমাৰ দেশৰ যোনবিলাক অৰিহণা আছে বা আমি যিমান কাম কৰি আছোঁ, বহুতে ফ'ল' কৰি আছে, বহুত বেলেগে ফ'ল' কৰি আছে, আৰু আমাৰ ভাৰতবাসীয়ে বেলেগ দেশত গৈ বা বেলেগ ইণ্টাৰনেশ্যনেল অৰ্গেনাইজেশ্যনত তেওঁ লিড কৰি আছে, তেওঁলোকে নেতৃত্ব কৰি আছে। তাতে এটা বস্তু চাব লাগে যে এজ এ ছ'চিয়েল ৱৰ্কাৰ, সমাজসেৱক আমি জানো, আৰু আগতে সমাজসেৱক শব্দটোৱে কৈছিলোঁ। সমাজসেৱক হিচাপে আমি সমাজৰ সেৱা কৰিব যাওঁ, বা মই বহুত সমাজসেৱাৰ মানে MSW ছাত্ৰক সুধিছোঁ কি তোমালোকে কি বিচাৰা, যে আমি উই ৱান্ট টু ব্ৰিং চেঞ্জ, আমি সমাজত পৰিৱৰ্তন আনিব বিচাৰিছোঁ, উইচ ইজ ভেৰি গুড, অ'কে, ইট ইজ ভেৰি গুড। কিন্তু তাতে এটা প্ৰশ্ন মই সোধোঁ, আৰু এইটো আমি প্ৰত্যেকে নিজকে সুধিব লাগে, সমাজত পৰিৱৰ্তন অনাৰ আগতে আমি নিজৰ মাজত পৰিৱৰ্তন আনিব পাৰোঁনে নাই? আজি যদি মোৰ অফিচৰে কথা কওঁ, এতিয়া আমি বহুত সৰু এটা অৰ্গেনাইজেশ্যন হয়, সৰু টিম হয়। তো ৰিচেণ্টলি বহুত য়াং ষ্টুডেণ্ট, ছ'চিয়েল ৱৰ্কৰ ষ্টুডেণ্ট জইন কৰিছে আমাক। তো ইটছ ভেৰি গুড, তেওঁলোকৰ যিমানখিনি উৎসাহ আছে, যিমান আগবাঢ়ে, তো আমাৰ কাৰণে ইটছ ইনস্পিৰেশ্যন যে আমি সেই প্লেটফৰ্মটো দিব পাৰিছোঁ, আমাৰ সংস্থাই দিব পাৰিছে, যে তেওঁলোকে নিজৰ ইচ্ছা কৰা কামখিনি আগবাঢ়িব পাৰিছে। কিন্তু মই দেখোঁ বহুতে নিজকে সলনি কৰিব দিগদাৰ পায়। আমি কওঁ ছাষ্টেইনেবল হ'ব লাগে, প্লাষ্টিক ইউজ কৰিব নালাগে, ই ৱেষ্ট, কাৰ্বন ফুটপ্ৰিণ্ট আমাৰ কম হ'ব লাগে, আমি কওঁ এইখিনি কথা। যাওক আমি কমিউনিটিত লেকচাৰটো দিওঁ, কিন্তু যেতিয়া আমাৰ নিজৰ প্ৰেক্টিছত চাওঁ আমি সেনেকুৱা কৰোঁ নেকি? আজি আমি ফ্ৰীলি নিজৰ ইউজত আমি যি প্লাষ্টিক ইউজ কৰোঁ, আমি প্লাষ্টিকটো ৰিজনেবলি ইউজ কৰোঁ নে যে না এই বস্তুটোত মই প্লাষ্টিক ইউজ নকৰিলে হ'ব, আজি বজাৰ কৰিছোঁ মই প্লাষ্টিকৰ ঠোঙাটো নলওঁ, বা আজি মই ক'ৰবাত কামত গৈ আছোঁ মই নিজৰ বাহন লৈ নগৈ মই ৰাজহুৱা বাহন এখনত যাওঁ, সৰু সুৰা বস্তু এইবিলাক কৈছোঁ। তো সেইখিনি আমি যদি এটা সমাজসেৱক বুলি নিজকে আইডেণ্টিফাই কৰোঁ আৰু নিজে যদি সেইখিনি কৰিব নোৱাৰোঁ, কিন্তু আমি এক্সপেক্ট কৰোঁ যে আমি সমাজটো পৰিৱৰ্তন কৰি দিম, আমি যোনখিনি দুখীয়া খাবৰ মানুহ আছে বা বেকৱাৰ্ড কমিউনিটি আছে তাতে গৈ আমি পৰিৱৰ্তন আনিম, এই বস্তুটো অলপমান মানে ডাবল ষ্টেণ্ডাৰ্ড হয়। যেতিয়ালৈ আমি সেই পৰিৱৰ্তনৰ যোনটো আছে মূলটো নিজৰ মাজত আনিব নোৱাৰোঁ, সমাজত আমি তাৰে ৰিফ্লেকশ্যনটো চোৱা যদি আশা কৰোঁ এইটো এটা ভুল হ'ব, নিজকে মিছা কোৱা হ'ব। তো সেইকাৰণে আমি প্ৰত্যেকে যোনে বিশেষকৈ সমাজসেৱাৰ কাম কৰি আছোঁ, তো চাব লাগে আমি এজ এ ইণ্ডিভিজুৱেল, আজি মই কোনো অৰ্গেনাইজেশ্যন বা একো কামত বেলেগত জড়িত হোৱাটো বাদ দি নিজে নিজৰ জীৱনত কি কৰিছোঁ যোনটোৱে মোৰ এটা ছ'চিয়েল কমিটমেণ্ট কৈছে, মই নিজৰ কাৰ্বন ফুটপ্ৰিণ্ট কম কৰিছোঁ নেকি, মোৰ ঘৰত বা মোৰ ওচৰে পাজৰে মই ডমেষ্টিক ভাইলেন্স মই ইফটিজিং মই কমাইছোঁ নেকি, মই উমেন ইকুৱেলিটিৰ কথা কওঁ, আমি বহুতে আমাৰ আজিকালি ছোৱালীবিলাকে ফেমিনিজমটো কয়, ফেমিনিজম ষ্টিল ইটছ এ ভেৰি বিগ ৱৰ্ড ফৰ মি, নাৰী সবলীকৰণৰ কথা কয়, নাৰী সবলীকৰণ কৰা, কিন্তু নিজে যেতিয়া কোনোবা এনেকুৱা চিটুৱেশ্যনত পৰিছা যে এজ এ ওমেন ইউ হেভ চাম প্ৰিভিলেজ, যে এটা আমাৰ কি হয় বাছত মহিলাক আহিলে চিটটো বহিব দিয়ে বা ক'ৰবাত গ'লে মহিলাক এটা প্ৰিফাৰেঞ্চ দিয়ে, সেইটো ডেট ইজ গুড, ডেট ইজ কাৰ্টেচি। তাৰে বাহিৰেও কিছুমান আছে, যদি আমি এজ এ মহিলা বা এজ এ ছোৱালী হিচাপে মই যদি বিচাৰোঁ যে মোক সেই প্ৰাধান্যটো লাগিব, তেতিয়া মই ইকুৱেলিটিটো বেলেগ হৈ যায়, তেতিয়া মোক সেই প্ৰাধান্যটো লাগে, কিন্তু যেতিয়া মই এটা বেলেগ প্লেটফৰ্মত যাম তেতিয়া মই মানে কি আৰু ইকুৱেলিটিৰ কথাটো কওঁ। তো সেই বস্তু সেই পৰিৱৰ্তনখিনি আমাৰ নিজৰ মাজত আনিব লাগিব। যদি আমি নিজৰ মাজত 100% নহয়, যদি 10% আনিব পাৰিছোঁ, তেনেহ'লে মই কওঁ যে আমি নিশ্চয় আমাৰ সমাজতো সেই পৰিৱৰ্তনটো আনিব পাৰিম। ধন্যবাদ।
Thank you so much, sir. That is actually very beautifully put. May I request Rajnath sir to express his views on this?
So, in the beginning, Miraj actually had pointed out that social work discipline is like, though it exudes lot of emotion, but we also have to see to it that the work of our doctor is also very emotional, and how beautifully they control their own emotions, particularly the ones who are working in the trauma centers and all. We teach that in our program, that the controlled emotion involvement and all such principles. But when it actually comes to the practice, we find that the doctors, the people who are working in the fire brigades and the systems, they are the ones who are controlling the emotions much better than us. An important point that we have been that we are very aware about is that how to transform our students to learn the hard skills. And I am happy that I can see many students who are sitting here. So this is a major challenge that we are seeing, that social work is an applied discipline, and the expectation from every student and equally the parents is that no sooner the degree is awarded, before the degree is awarded, they should have a job in their pocket. So, but how the job will come? And again, there is a lot of competition that we are facing from the students from other disciplines, without making it making it look like a competition. But one of the things that we are seeing here is that if you have transformed yourself into a professional social worker, there are many hard skills that for some reason or the other the students they are not adopting, despite all the efforts being done by the course, the pedagogy, the curriculum and the design syllabus and everything. So the focus is more on the emotive part, the soft skills. In the soft skills we talk about the communication and interaction, the public relations and things. But once it comes to the hard skills, something as simple as operating the Excel sheet. So I can say from my own experience while dealing with the students that many of them are petrified. They are like scared seeing the numbers. But the fact of the matter remains that unless you master that art of handling the numbers, how are you going to like write a proposal to the donor? End of the day, the entire ecosystem is working on the donor and executive relationship. So the donor also has to be convinced that how the money that is coming to you is fully rationalized and you can show it to them. So if you are submitting that work, that it can be done by the people from other disciplines. So the work that you are doing, that they will also encroach into that space. So you have to carve your own niche. You have to carve your own existence, that why your presence is so much important for the social development and for the social well-beingness of the community and of the region at large. Again, a point that I made earlier, that we do have like different divisions in the social work, right? So they are thematic based largely, where we have public health and we have livelihoods, we have education, we have other interventions, curative work, and so on and so forth. So we also have to constantly see to it that have we learned enough, have we read enough to use them in our professional life. Many times we hear it from the engineers that whatever engineering that we learned in the engineering colleges, we have never used that in the field. And I'm sorry to say that is also happening in the realm of social work as well. That whatever that is being taught, we are hardly using it. So that is not only the case. We are not only teaching you the classical methods of social work. With the social work discipline, at least I can talk about TSS, which has been very evolving kinds. Like very regularly it is revising its syllabus and trying to run along with what is the demand of the times and things. So definitely our forte will remain on the emotive part, the emotional part, the soft skills, but along the soft skills, the hard skills, if they are not being mastered over, there is a lot of competition out there, and it will become like a bit difficult for us to like compete with the students from other disciplines. There is a website called Definite Jobs India, Definite Jobs. So the Indian version of it is called definitejobsindia.org. I think many of the social work students, they must have logged into that website to see what are the various places where they can be recruited. And if you look into the essential requirements, generally it is not social work exclusive. It is always social work / psychology / sociology / development studies / economics. And then even if the slash is not mentioning engineers, engineers are also very keen to join because they know that they have something special in them. They are good with numbers. And that is where the employers also want. Okay, we'll teach you the soft skills, you come with the hard skills. Our case is that they expect you to know the soft skills, but how you quickly adopt the hard skills. So that is the thing. Again, the job scenario is not as precarious in the social development sector as it is in the other places, corporates and all. But if there is a dearth of jobs in the corporate sector, maybe without need, they are going to come and take your space in the social development sector. So pull up your socks, and I can see many people who reach out to me regularly that there is a job profile with us, please circulate it to your students. And many a times they are also disappointed because the students who reach out to them, either they are underqualified or they don't have that kind of a will to work with them. Oh, the salary is too less. At least make a beginning, no? But if the salary is less, definitely the donor has not paid them enough. So why don't you use your own skill to reach out to, look, the money is hanging out there. You just have to use your skill how to pull in that money. There are people who are willing to invest, but unless they get a very good proposal, how will they invest with you? And after the investment has been done, how effectively have you used that investment to give respect to every single penny that has been given to you? Yeah. Thank you.
Could we hear some remarks from Vijay sir on this? And unfortunately, due to paucity of time, even though the discussion is so engaging, we must wrap it up. So sir, if I could request.
So this is one of my favorite questions because fortunately or unfortunately, I have to visit many universities for campus placement, and I have to be in the interview panel. So from there, I start thinking the three things, simple things. Why we are doing social work as a student? Why we are doing? If that point is very clear, that is the first step. There are two things into that. If I am doing social work, as Dr. Razdan said, social work has many domains, right? So what exactly I want to do, whether I want to do, go deeper into the livelihood domain, or health domain, or women empowerment domain. So I think that thing we have to be very clear during our student life. So that deep knowledge of one domain is very important. Second thing, only deep knowledge in one domain will not work. You have to also have, your knowledge in the other domains, not equally like the one domain, but at least you should understand the other domains. So that is the student life. Now the second thing, whenever I come to Assam and some northeast universities, the question that student asks, in the sense, they ask why to go to Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, and all this place to work. But I think that's very important. If you go out of your geography, your understanding of the context increases. So it's very important to go outside, work, learn, and come back. I'm not saying go and settle down in somewhere else. But in the initial days of your career, it's very important to take experience from outside world also. So you always should not expect the work of 3 No, that is not the purpose of the social work domain, at least. Other domains I don't want to comment. Third thing is about this is not a job. I tell everybody, this is not a job. Okay, salary is important, your livelihood is important, but social work is not a job. It's not like Ratipa Nota office guru basta our job is there. It's a continuous thing. Your thinking should be very 24/7 kind of thinking, right? That's why don't consider, and that's why I'm saying that's why when you are as a student, you are understanding very clear why I am doing this course and what I exactly want to do in my life. And nowadays the scopes are immense. Forget about the organizers who are offering jobs. Many students who are after doing social work, they start their own organization. So, and then there is lots of scope in every geography. There are lots of social issues are immense, right? And then these social issues will remain, unfortunately, for some time. Unless you work on the social issues very integrated manner, that khatam nahi, right? So don't consider this a job. This is a profession. Professionally, you have to take the profession, but don't think that this is like a corporate thing and I do my job and that's it. And third, most important thing, learning. Social work learning is very continuous learning. It's not like, I did my MSW and I'm now 20 years. I'm saying 20 years because I worked for 20 years. But after 20 years also, I think that I'm still a learner because it's not easy to understand the society first of all. And how the society will understanding change also even more complex. So as a social worker, my request to the students who I am seeing here, please be clear why you are doing this course. Don't take this as any other random course. And good that you are in the social work domain. And believe me, the scope is immense and there are lots of opportunities. Job, your own organization you can begin. Nowadays, there are many organizations that are having the incubation concepts and many other things are there. So just do your course nicely and learn. Learn things as much as possible so that you can implement the learning.
I know we are running short of time, but I can compare to add 1 or 2 points from my end. বিশেষকৈ মই আমাৰ টিচাৰ সদস্য আছে, ৰয়েল গ্লোবৰ আছে, গুৱাহাটী ইউনিভাৰ্চিটিৰো আছে বহুত। মই এটা ৰিকুৱেষ্ট কৰোঁ মোৰ অভিজ্ঞতা দি যে ইট ইজ ভেৰি ডিছহাৰ্টনিং, বহুত বেয়া লাগে যেতিয়া আমি দেখোঁ যেতিয়া এটা MSW কৰা বা BSW এটা ষ্টুডেণ্ট আহিব আমাৰ তাতে, এতিয়া জইন কৰিব আহিব বা ইণ্টাৰ্ণশ্বিপত আহিব আৰু তেওঁলোকৰ আমি কথা পাতোঁ, তেওঁলোকৰ এক্সপেক্টেশ্যন যেতিয়া এনেকুৱা হয় যে নহয় মই ফিল্ডত নহয় মোক অলপ ডেস্ক জব লাগে বা মই বেলেগ চিটিত যাব নোখোজোঁ, বেলেগ ষ্টেট দূৰৰ পৰা মই বেলেগ চিটিত যাব নোখোজোঁ বা মোৰ মা দেউতাই যাব নিদিয়ে। এটা মাষ্টাৰ ডিগ্ৰী ষ্টুডেণ্টে যেতিয়া কয় মোৰ মা দেউতাই মোক যাব দিব দিগদাৰ পায়, মানে ফেমিলি কিবা অব্লিগেশ্যন হ'ব পাৰে, ডেট ইজ নট মাই ইছ্যু। বাট যেতিয়া MSW কৰি আহা আমাৰ এক্সপেক্টেশ্যন থাকে যে ইউ উইল মানে আমি এক বেলেগতকৈ এক খোজ আগত বাঢ়ি কাম কৰিম কমিউনিটিত গৈ। তুমি মেট্ৰ' চিটি এটাত বেংগলোৰ, দিল্লী, মুম্বাই বা ইভেন গুৱাহাটীত চিটি এটাত মই বহি মোৰ ডেস্কত বহি মই কাম কৰিম ছ'চিয়েল ৱৰ্ক সেই বস্তুটো এণ্ড মই এটা চেলাৰী ড্ৰ কৰিম আৰু এক্সপেক্টেশ্যন মানে ৰাজধান ছাৰ আৰু এটা কওঁ যে আজিকালি ষ্টুডেণ্টৰ এক্সপেক্টেশ্যন দেখি আমাৰ ইণ্টাৰভিউ ল'ব ভয় লাগে মানে ইণ্টাৰভিউতে আমাৰ ভয় লাগে ইণ্টাৰভিউ ল'ব তেতিয়া এক্সপেক্টেশ্যন দিব তোমালোকে কি জানা যে এক্সপিৰিয়েঞ্চ মই 18টা ইণ্টাৰ্ণশ্বিপ কৰিছোঁ কিবা এক্সপিৰিয়েঞ্চ আছে নাই এইটো মোৰ ফাৰ্ষ্ট জব আচ্ছা এটা এক্সপেক্টেশ্যন তেতিয়া সৰু যে নহয় মই 5টালৈ কাম কৰিম মই 10টা বজাত আহিম মই উইকেণ্ডত কাম কৰিব নোৱাৰোঁ আৰু পেকেজত লাগিব মোক 1 লাখ পেকেজ লাগিব চ' মানে ঠিকে আছে মানে এক্সপিৰেশ্যনত চবে হ'ব লাগে কিন্তু তেতিয়া এক্সপেক্টেশ্যনটো ৰিয়েলিটিৰ লগত খাপ নাখায় আমাৰ কাৰণেও দিগদাৰ হৈ যায় এতিয়া মোৰ টিমত মোৰ গোটেইকেইজন উই হেভ লাইক 70 পিপল মানে ফিল্ড টিম হেড অফিচ টিম আহে আমাৰ লগত এছ'চিয়েটেড হৈ আছে আৰু I think hardly 20% of them 20 or 15% of them are MSW আমি ইচ্ছা কৰি MSW ষ্টুডেণ্ট ল'ব খোজো আমি ভাবক প্ৰফেশ্যনেল ছ'চিয়েল ৱৰ্কাৰ আহক কিন্তু যেতিয়া এটা হাইট আপ এক্সপেক্টেশ্যন লৈ আহিব আৰু when you are afraid of going to field তেতিয়া আমাৰ কাৰণে বহুত দিগদাৰ হৈ যায় তো সেইটোৱে and that gives a very poor light on মানে গোটেই ছেক্টৰটোতে এটা বহুত poor light আজি যদি ইঞ্জিনিয়াৰ এজনে বা MBA কৰা এজনে যদি ফিল্ডত যাব মাৰ্কেটিঙৰ কাৰণে বা ফিল্ড ৱৰ্কৰ কাৰণে হেজিটেট নকৰে আমাৰ MSWৰ পৰা যদি কৰি অহা কেইটা হেজিটেট কৰোঁ ফিল্ডত যাব বৰষুণ আছে ৰ'দ আছে বানপানী আছে ইটছ ভেৰি ডিসহাৰ্টনিং মই কাকো ইণ্ডিভিজুৱেল পইণ্ট কৰি কোৱা নাই চ' মই ইনষ্টিটিউশ্যনবিলাকক ৰিকুৱেষ্ট কৰিলোঁ তেওঁলোকে এই কমিউনিটি ইমাৰ্জন যোনটো কম্পনেণ্ট আছে তেওঁলোকৰ কোৰ্চত সেইটো অলপ আৰু ডিপলি কৰাব পাৰে নেকি এনেকুৱা থাকিব 100টা ষ্টুডেণ্টৰ ভিতৰত 30টা ষ্টুডেণ্ট এনেকুৱা থাকিব সিহঁতৰ ছ'চিয়েল ৱৰ্কত একো ইণ্টেনশ্যন নাই জাষ্ট যে ডিগ্ৰী হিচাপে কৰি আছে কিন্তু বাকী 70কেইজনক সেই ৰিয়েলিটিটো দিব লাগে যে তুমি ইয়াৰ পৰা পাছ আউট হৈয়ে তুমি আৰম্ভণি এটা হাই জব নাপাব পাৰা বাট তুমি যিটো ৰাজধান ছাৰে কৈছে যে কেৰিয়াৰটো ষ্টাৰ্ট কৰা ষ্টাৰ্ট কৰি শিকা প্ৰথম কেইবছৰমান শিকাত জোৰ দিয়া তাৰপিছত মই কওঁ এইটো ফিল্ড এনেকুৱা হয় ইমান ডাইনামিক ফিল্ড আৰু বেলেগ ক'তো নাই মই কৈছোঁ ছ'চিয়েল ৱৰ্কৰ নিচিনা মই প্ৰফেশ্যনেল ছ'চিয়েল ৱৰ্কাৰ মানে মোৰ MSW নহয় বাট ডিউৰিং মাই কোৰ্চ অফ 2 decades অফ মানে কি আৰু এংগেজমেণ্ট মই বেলেগ বেলেগ ছেক্টৰ পাব্লিক হেল্থ হওক এডুকেশ্যন হওক চব লাইভলিহুড চবতে মই অলপ অলপ এক্সপিৰিয়েঞ্চ কৰিছোঁ আৰু মোক বেলেগ ছেক্টৰে এইটো এক্সপিৰিয়েঞ্চ নিদিলে হয় আজি মই হেল্থতো অলপ কাম কৰিছোঁ এডুকেশ্যনতো কৰিছোঁ লাইভলিহুডত কৰিছোঁ তো এই এডভেঞ্চাৰাছ কেৰিয়াৰটো ছ'চিয়েল ৱৰ্কে অফাৰ কৰে বাট সেইটো এডভেঞ্চাৰাছ কেৰিয়াৰত থ্ৰাইভ কৰি কৰিব হ'লে আমিও অপেন মাইণ্ড লৈ আগবাঢ়িব লাগিব আৰু ইয়াতে আমাৰ ইনষ্টিটিউশ্যনবিলাকৰ বহুত ৰোল আছে যে ইনষ্টিটিউশ্যনৰ ব্ৰেণ্ডিঙতো নহয় ইনষ্টিটিউশ্যনে সেই ইমাৰ্জনটো কৰাব লাগে নহ'লে কি হয় আমাৰ ষ্টুডেণ্টবিলাকে তেওঁলোকে সেই 2 বছৰ 3 বছৰ 5 বছৰ সেনেকৈ পঢ়ি আহে যে মই ইয়াৰ পৰা ওলাই মোৰ কাৰণে এটা জব থাকিব 9 to 5 মান কৰিম যাম তেওঁলোকৰ সেই যেতিয়া ড্ৰিম ৰিয়েলিটিটো ভাঙে ন দে আৰ ভেৰি মাছ ডিসহাৰ্টেণ্ড আৰু ইটছ ভেৰি মানে আমাৰ বেয়া লাগে দেখি তেওঁলোকৰ তেওঁলোকে কি এক্সপেক্টেশ্যন লৈ আহে চ' সেই ইমাৰ্জনটো যদি আমি অলপ ডিপলি কৰা যায় আৰু এইটো এনেকুৱা ছেক্টৰ হয় চাম ছ'চিয়েল ৱৰ্ক প্ৰফেশ্যনেল আৰ আৰ্নিং মোৰ দেন ইঞ্জিনিয়াৰ্ছ এণ্ড ডক্টৰ্ছ এইটোৰ আছে তো এইটোত কোনো লিমিট নাই যে এইটো যে সদায় ল' ৱেতে কৰি থাকিব নহয় মানে বহুতে আমাৰ লোকেল লেভেলত ষ্টাৰ্ট কৰি যে ইণ্টাৰনেশ্যনেল লেভেলত কাম কৰিছে ছ'চিয়েল ৱৰ্ক যদি কোনোবাই আজি ছ'চিয়েল ৱৰ্ক কৰি UN অৰ্গেনাইজেশ্যনত জইন কৰে আফগানিস্তান বা মিডিল ইষ্টত পোষ্টিং হয় যে তেওঁলোকৰ যোনটো চেলাৰী পেকেজ হ'ব আমাৰ ইয়াৰে বহুত প্ৰফেশ্যনেলতকৈ বহুত গুণা বেছি কিন্তু আমিও সেই কমিটেড লেভেললৈ যাব লাগিব চ' স্ক'প বহুত আছে চ' আমাৰ মই এইটোৱে ক'লোঁ যে অ'পেন মাইণ্ড লৈ আমি ওচৰত ৰাখিম
Thank you so much to all the esteemed panelists, and I think the diversity of your experiences has really reflected on the diversity of your opinions and how you have articulated everything for our learners. I hope that for all the students and the budding social workers, the discussion is engaging. Just to conclude with, I have just taken away 3 key points from the discussion. One is that as social workers, we need to be ready to learn and unlearn
We are fortunate to have such a dynamic group of experts who helped us better understand the critical role of social workers to shape inclusive societies. I urge everyone in the audience to reflect on the key takeaways pointed out by Joita and even the panelists and consider how we can together strengthen the profession and its impact on our communities. Before we move on, I once again would like to thank Mr. Wilson Hasda, EM of BTR, for extending his support to our mission and our shared commitment towards an inclusive, equitable and just society. Without BTR's support, this auspicious event would not have been possible. Thank you so much, BTR, Borderland Territorial Region and BTR officials. Now, for our next session, our speaker will be Mr. Lakshmi Narayan Nanda. He's a child protection specialist and he will speak about UNICEF and UNICEF's legacy as a UN agency providing humanitarian and development aid to children worldwide. I would like to ask Nazim Ahmed, founder of Indian Awaaz Foundation, to come to the stage to felicitate our next speaker. I urge the volunteers to be ready with the mementos. He is Mr. Lakshmi Narayan Nanda from UNICEF. He's a child protection specialist. And he will speak about UNICEF and UNICEF's legacy as providing humanitarian and developmental aid to children worldwide. Huge round of applause, everybody. Mr. Nanda, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much for the invitation to join with all of you and say a few thoughts on behalf of the organism that we represent, that is UNICEF. At the outset, let me take this opportunity to congratulate the organizer, Indian Awaaz Foundation, the leader and the team, and the esteemed partner, BTR government. I've been working very closely with the BTR government for the past 3.5 years, and we have some early results. So that also I decided my short deliberation. And as we discuss in the context of International Social Work Day, and as you all know that this year theme is strengthening intergenerational solidarity for enduring well-being. So this theme itself gives us insight to reflect upon where are we leading, where are we currently, where are we now, and what needs to be done in the field of social work. I'm happy to learn that this is the first conclave which is happening this year. We started similar journey long time back, 30, 40 years back. I remember my early days of social work in Karnataka. We formed this Karnataka Professional Social Worker Association, Vastu and team, late 90s. And few other states also they have formed similar kind of professional social worker association. The idea was basically to reflect, deliberate, meet and challenge ourselves and continuously learn from each other by sharing ideas, skills and the field learnings particularly. I've been asked to share the UNICEF work in the context of Northeast. Well, I'll do that. But since the topic is on social work and I see young minds here, let me also reflect upon and continue the talk where the previous panelists left. And in the present context, if you look at the external environment, which is heavily dominated by the information technology or the digitalization era, and we are talking about the format of social work. It's really, it's really challenging for us, particularly the academician, the university, to think and rethink what kind of post curriculum we need to design in order to address the present demand of the social work. When I look at the social work domain, it's not just only filled with people from professional social work background degree, but it is also encroached, I'm using the word encroached, by other professionals, and which we need it. I mean, I'm not denying the fact that we don't need other professionals to come and join in this field of work, and we don't need a professional social work degree to do our social work. But however, what is happening in this field, when I look at doctor, engineers, architecture, people from all across the discipline, they join in this particular domain. The essence of social work, the commitment, passion, someone mentioned in the previous discussion, I find there is a little gap there, because it's very difficult. I was discussing the other day with another Wilson, he is Wilson Bejoda, Sapai Karmachari Andalan. He was telling me, how can we put the pain, the exploitation, the discrimination that we come across as we represent the most vulnerable, marginalized community in a result-based framework, in a framework which talks about logical framework approach. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to put it in a word and then translate it to achieve the result. It requires a fresh look. How can we practice certain theories into actions, which require passions, which require emotion, which require a lot of patience. So that's why they say that social work is not an easy, social development or rural development is not an easy task. If it is easy one, or four would have done it without waiting for us. Let me also take this opportunity to say bring another dimension, how we are transitioning. When I started my work in late 90s, the concept of social work, it was largely centered around the spirit of volunteerism. And today when I see the social work domain or the professional social work domain or the development work itself, if you look at Sir mentioned about the definite jobs. If you look at the definite jobs candidates profile and the kind of demand that we have in this sector, we need specialized skill. We need specialized, we need to nurture that particular skill to sell ourselves in the job market. Otherwise, we will be outdated. So, in that context, when I look at the current social work and then the need for us to give a fresh look, both in academically as also as a practitioners, we need to continue the talk. We need to continue this dialogue. Maybe after this event, today's event, one of the call to action is to see that how we can nurture a platform of dialogue so that we continue whatever today's outcome is there on a sustainable basis. Now let's look at. Let me also quickly reflect upon some of our work, since I have been asked to share UNICEF work. As you know, UNICEF is one of the UN agencies who works exclusively on children's issues. Of course, women is also added, but women is not our first target group, because we have other agencies like UN Women. They are responsible to deliver results for women. But as a specific organization which works primarily on child rights, as a custodian of UNCRC, United Nations Convention on Rights of Children, we work closely with the systems, largely government systems, and also with the academician, legislature, judiciary, the media, a range of stakeholders who are equally accountable to deliver results for children. How do we work? I represent. We have 9 different divisions within UNICEF, and I lead Child Protection Division. Primarily, we deal with child-related legislation and we contribute for its effective implementation at different levels. So, what does that mean? let me articulate it so that, say for example, we have Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children 2015 Act. When you look at our approach, we work closely with Guwahati High Court, we work with Department of Women and Child Development, help them to implement Mission Vaschalya, which is a flagship program of Government of India. We also work with media houses, help the young journalists to understand the child rights concept and also the ethical reporting part. What are the things they need to consider while reporting cases related to children, particularly the ethical aspect, the right to privacy, right to identity, how to preserve it while reporting cases. Similarly, we work with a couple of academic institutions. Say, for example, we have partnership with National Law University, Tezpur University, Bodoland University. We had partnership, and a couple of other Guwahati University also. We have partnership. My colleague working with the social behavior change communication. And this is how we work across the nation, not just only in Guwahati or in the northeastern context. So when we work with the academic institution, largely in two domains. One is the building evidence, generating evidence and the knowledge management sphere, and also we look at the workforce, the social service workforce as one of the catchment area where we invest our time and resources to nurture the young minds. Say for example, when we work with the National Law University, we work with the students with special elective courses on child-related legislation and help them to develop that skills that required skills to compete in the job market. And also in form of internship, in form of elective courses, there are different approaches which we adopted. What we do when we work with the local civil society organization, basically we demonstrate certain conceptual framework that is written in the policy domain. Say for example, if you look at Mission Vaschalya program of Government of India, it talks about Constitution of Child Welfare and Protection Committee. And what is this committee? This committee has a primary role to identify vulnerabilities of children in that catchment area in the panchayat, and then develop plan of actions, and that plan of action needs to be incorporated as part of the GPDP exercise. And then there is also a provision of allocation of 5% resources from on-diet fund. So what we do basically when we work with the civil society organization, we try to bridge the gap between community and administration, the systems. So that's one of the role which we play as a facilitator or facilitating agency. I'll cite one example since Mr. Hasna is here. With Bodoland Territorial Council, we have been working with the systems for the last 3.5 years, where we have contributed in setting up a project management unit. So idea was to support the local administration as part of the autonomous council in ensuring that the flagship program gets delivered as it is envisaged part of the policy document. So what did we do in the Bodoland region? We worked with the local NGO Nidan and Nursery, where we reach out to the community, affected communities, and they mobilize community in different forms like adolescent collectives they have. We have also helped them to form a survivor forum, trafficking survivor forum. So basically the girls, those who are affected with trafficking, we reach out to them, bring them together, help them to figure out what are their individual needs, and then support them through the social protection schemes of Government of Assam and India to access that. There are few things which is happening in BTR and which has a lot of potential to replicate in the rest of the Northeast Autonomous Council. One I can cite under the leadership of Pramodji and Wilson ji is here. Let me also take this opportunity to inform this August gathering. EPPL is the first political party which has incorporated child rights agenda as part of their political manifesto. This is the only party in India, political party. And based on that, to honor that, please correct me, so it was in the General Assembly which was held in 2022, so this move was made and it was incorporated. And based on that, uh, the Child Rights Mission is something, another initiative which was taken up by the BTR government, and not just only a policy decision, but to implement this policy decision into action, they have also allocated 1% of fund reservation. This is also another step. If you look at the trajectory, the sequence from taking a political decisions in the political parties domain, converting that into a manifesto, and manifesto to policy decision in setting up a child rights mission, and then allocating 1.1% of resources. This itself is a huge journey, and this happened over the last 3.5 years under the leadership of Pramodji, which is a great thing to learn and replicating the rest of the Autonomous Council. We must appreciate when Pramodji is here, so we must appreciate and tell him that how progressive in terms of thinking, and we need political wills to take this kind of decisions. Let me not come in between lunch and you, and there is one credo which I often refer. This was developed long time back by Dr. Y.C. James N., who is the founder of International Rural Reconstruction Movement, IIRR. This was developed in the context of when China was suffering illiteracy, diseases, all kinds of social issues. Dr. Y.C. Jensen and his colleagues, they just took this as an opportunity and initiated a movement called mass education movement. And the message for his workers is follows. Basically, they designed it in such a way that in today's world, I see its importance is still there. And often we use in our social work framework in many schools and colleges. Robert Chambers, who is the great innovator as far as participatory development approach is concerned, he used certain person of his credo as part and designing different tools, PRA tools. The credo was like this. I'm sure some of you must be aware about this credo. It says that go to the people, live among them, learn from them, plan with them, work with them, not just plan. You need to be there, you need to work with them, you need start with what they know. Many times what happened in the name of social change process, often the agency go with a lot of ideas and framework and theories, format, which they get it from the different donor agencies, which is developed again in someone mentioned about the AC rules. So in that context, it is not owned by the community. So his message at that point of time, almost 100 years back, I still find its relevance in today's context is that then he said that start with what they know, there is the people, build on what they have, teach by showing, learn by doing. Not a showcase. Rural development is not like in a shopping mall where you showcase health, education, protection, nutrition. These are not like, these are all interrelated and integrated. One need to understand while facilitating this change process at the ground level, at the bottom level. Not a showcase, but a pattern. Not odds and ends, but a system. Not piecemeal, but integrated approach. Say for example, since I work in the domain of child rights, we have 54 articles as defined under UNCRC. But often if you ask that, I'm working on education rights, so I don't have any connection with the health rights or development rights. One need to look at the holistic approach, so that's why he emphasized at that point of time, not piecemeal but an integrated approach when facilitating the change process. One need to be very, very careful about this interconnectivity, interdisciplinary or the multidisciplinary approach. Not to confirm, but to transform. So not that you put a tick mark, yes, I visited this many numbers to this particular community, I delivered this many numbers of community meetings, my job is done. It's not like that. So what did he say? Not relief, but release. You need to walk it in such a way that, where we liberate people from the, from the struggle, from the exploitation, from the discrimination, whatever forms of issues that they are facing, we need to liberate from this. So in this great message, let me just close my deliberation. And we are here, we are located in Belgala. All of you are welcome to visit our office and to learn more about how UNICEF works closely with the different structure of legislative, judiciary and executive structure, as well as media and civil society organizations closely with the Assam and Northeast. So today's call for action, I request the 5 area to think through it. Since I see the academicians here, there is a need to revisit course curriculum. Particularly, university has a bigger role to play when it comes to the MSW. Because we need to also look at the market demand. Say for example, in Mission Master document, when I look at the flagship program and the social work that we get on board, they need to have specific skills in their job profile. Say for example, social investigation report, individual care plan. These are all specialized skill set which one need to nurture it, and university has a major role to play in terms of looking at the current demand and revisit their course curriculum and prepare the young generation academically to meet the demand. Then nurturing specific skill, as sir mentioned about, the TI's professor mentioned about, and also the Ajim Premji person mentioned about, there is a need to nurture specific skill. This social work is like, jack of all, master of none. You need to have, your footprint in everywhere, but at the same time you need to have nurture one set of skills so that you sell it in the present job market. Need more dialogue, this kind of dialogue. Let's think about it, how can we sustain this dialogue over a period of time, so that this is owned by the practitioners, not by the any particular organizations. So let's think through it. We'll be happy to join with you to facilitate few sessions. Like I saw the word used, the CSR as one of the key stakeholders. Like CSR, let's also think about to have our own ISR, individual social responsibility, and do at least in a year, if you take up one particular area that you want to contribute in your immediate environment, please note down that and work upon it. So CSR to ISR, that journey, if you can take a call and to work upon it. And last but not the least, as a social worker, I think time has come for us to create our own identity in this competitive world, and say that yes, we need all discipline, but social work is also a professionalism approach which one need to recognize it. More than 100 countries now, they have dedicated course curriculum, dedicated workforce. Some of the Scandinavian countries, like say Norway, is one of the best examples where the social work has been institutionalized, starting from the village level to the government highest level. So we have a long way to go in Indian context, though we have so many institutions, dedicated institutions. I also represent one institution, not UNICEF, my academic institutions, where they serve exclusive course for social work. But there is a need to revisit it and lobby for it, for creating our own space in this competitive world. With this, let me conclude my lecture, and thank you once again for inviting me to share a few ideas and thoughts. Thank you.
That was a very enlightening speech, Mr. Lakshmi Narayan Nanda. Thank you so much for being here today and for offering us your insights and observations, being a part of a legacy social work organization. Now, after this intense and engaging session on how to be an effective and an efficient social worker, is the next session on the importance of social work and leadership in this day and age. I'd like to ask Nazim Ahmed, founder of Indian Awas Foundation, to come to the stage to felicitate our next speaker. I urge the volunteers to be ready with the mementos. Now introducing the speaker, it is an absolute pleasure to have among us Priyanka Das, an Indian School of Development Management ISDM alumna and Northeast Program Associate at Pratham Education Foundation. She is a development practitioner with a vision to create an equitable society that embraces the values of mutual respect, happiness and freedom for all. And she will now be delivering her special address. A huge round of applause for Priyanka Das, please. We'll first felicitate her with a few mementos. We will now felicitate Priyanka Das. Nazim Ahmed, founder of Indian Awas Foundation, felicitating Priyanka Das. She is a development practitioner with a vision to create an equitable society that embraces the value of mutual respect, happiness and freedom for all. She will now be delivering her special address. Good afternoon everyone, my name is Priyanka Das and I work in Pratham Education Foundation as Northeast Program Associate and I'm an alum from ISDM. I've already been introduced so I won't be taking much time to that and I'll directly dive into the presentation. So my topic for today is the importance of social work and leadership in the social sector. So every year we come together in this particular day to celebrate the World Social Work Day to actually appreciate and acknowledge the immense amount of work that has been contributed by the social workers in the field in terms of dealing with the most globally pressing challenges that we are dealing with today. So, and at the same time this day is also raises awareness about the importance of the role of the social workers in not just contributing to the welfare services but also to in shaping policies as well as fostering inclusive societies as we envision them. So in this day, the role of, we also acknowledge that the role of social workers have immensely changed over the years and we have seen a significant change in the kind of work that we have been doing over time. Yes, so right from traditionally where we were in, working more towards the welfare services and providing more of need-based services or support to the communities, we have now evolved and we are now working across the most pressing challenges which are in one or two of amongst those 17 sustainable development goals that we speak about. We obviously have broader umbrellas wherein we speak about health, education, livelihood and environment, but broadly every organization or every social worker is working towards one or two of these 17 social development goals. And all these development goals as we speak of, the challenges that it brings are more pressing and more complex in nature. So in today's world we are dealing with more non-linear challenges that come to us and we have to shifted to a different approach. We have shifted to a more rights-based approach, wherein we think more about community ownership now. So this, through this we can see that how social work over time has evolved and how we have, emerged over time. For the large part of the society, we still are, the social sector is still basically a very small, a volunteer-led sector, which is also like, a lot of people even restrict it to just being philanthropy. Whereas social sector is just the opposite, I feel. Like it's the kind of non-linear issues that we deal with, the kind of complexities that we deal with are immensely challenging. And to be able to do so, we require professionals who are dedicated, who are skilled, and who are equipped in all those areas, who have or can take leadership positions. So even if we speak of, the most important thing to look here is over the work that we're doing in the sector is almost impacting 700 million people and through almost 2.5 lakh different social purpose organizations. And these social purpose organizations are employing at least 10 to 20 million professionals in them. So all these professionals and all the money and everything that we are pooling in shows that we still lack a set of professionals who are able to manage the system better. So what we need to emphasize on, if we can only think how impactful or in the magnitude of impact that we can have in the sector, if only we are able to work in this, the work in the sector is better structured, the work in the sector is better managed, and the work in the sector is better designed. We have better evaluation and monitoring system at place, and we have better leaders at place. So management, as we speak of in the development sector, seems very new to a lot of people. But the concept of management in the social sector is important because we understand the need to develop such leaders in the society who can effectively be able to navigate through these non-linear issues and actually do the work that we do in this sector more effectively. So as you already know, there are two types of management at place, right? There is one when we speak of the business management, which is the entire corporate sector, and the one management we speak of is the management of the government, which we understand as the public administration. But most importantly, what this shows is the fact that we already have two streams of management at place kind of proves that management as a concept is very conceptual in nature, and not necessarily the same type of management will work across the sectors. So not only do we require management in the development sector, but we need the management principles to be tailored according to the development sector. Sorry, I forgot to move slides. So yeah, what exactly development management is? Development management basically is an amalgamation of the development studies and the management principles. So it is curated in way that you are familiar with all the development studies that we come across, and also you are equipped with the right amount of tools, techniques, and frameworks, so that the work that you are doing, the designs that you are implementing, are well structured and better and more effective. So, as we speak of development management, there are four pillars to development management. So, the very first pillar to development management is understanding development itself. So, even if I have to ask this particular group of people on what development actually means to you, everybody will have a different idea of what development is. So, this is why understanding development in itself becomes so important. So, we come from different mindsets and different experiences. So, understanding development through multiple perspectives, understanding development through multiple stakeholders, what's the role of the government, what's the role of the market, what's the role of other organizations in collaboration. So, understanding that becomes the first pillar of development management. To move on, the next pillar of development management is actually designing the intervention. Once you've understood or you have a concept of what development is for you, then you start thinking about how can I analyze this particular problem, right? How can I bring about So then we design an intervention based on the assumptions we have that, for example, this A, B, C, D, E reasons are going to, is what is going to, add to my theory of change, is what is going to lead to the change that I'm looking forward for. And this particular pillar is actually where the practical application of all the tools and techniques come into place. The third pillar is once we have understood what intervention we want, is when we understand that what we try to build an organization that will support this kind of interventions. And by that we need to understand governance, we need to understand compliance, we need to understand where the funds are coming from. So all of these aspects come into place when we are building an organization. And the fourth pillar, which is a horizontal pillar and which is across all the three pillars, is basically understanding self. So working in the social sector itself is a very challenging thing. And it's not exactly what we, it's completely different from working in the corporate sector. So we deal with people, we have to collaborate with a lot of stakeholders, and it requires for us to build in a lot of resilience. It requires for us to have the potential or the will to work upon ourselves. It also requires for us to grow, for continuous development of ourselves. And not only that, it is very important when we are working in the social sector to understand at first that why exactly are we working in this sector? What are our values and principles? And once we have that in place, is when we can understand the sector better. So what skills do we require when we are working in the development sector? So currently, apart from how traditionally we have been working in the social sector, we have a lot of different roles and functions. Most of them require a lot of research and analytical skills. We need to know how to make effectively design results-based programs. We need to know how to develop partnerships and collaborations with people. We need to know how to leverage technology and innovate new approaches. We need to also know how to, there are different systems at place. Like for example, there are different approaches like systems thinking, design thinking, operational management, and we need to know all of these and the practical applicability of this. So the work around in the social sector is increasingly becoming very complex. And what we need to do is we need to identify very simple, we need to be able to actually design very simple, very scalable, and very sustainable models. So the functions and roles have also evolved over the years, as I was speaking of, in the social sector. So now we have a wide range of career options, and it's not just limited to welfare services. We have careers in the, so we have program management, where we can see where there is the effective implementation and designing of the programs. We also have fundraising, where we see where different kinds of funds are coming from and how to, we have finance and admin team, where they see how the funds are better utilized, or how are we deploying the funds. We have human resources we need, because as I was speaking of, there are literally 10 to 20 million people involved in these sectors, so the management of all these people. So then there's communications at place, where how do you share your story, the impact that you're creating on ground, how are you presenting it, right? So then again there is technology at place, so how are you leveraging technology, how are you using different kinds of apps and different kinds of systems at place to develop or to magnify the impact that you have. So all of these are the various and the diverse amount of career options that you currently have in the social sector. So very personally, my particular journey in the development management actually began with ISDM, Indian School of Development Management. It is one of the first management institute situated in Noida, and it was started in the year 2015. The concept that ISDM has, the course that it has curated, is actually a one of a kind. It's a very new gen and a very developed course which we currently can actually see the practical applications of it on the field today. So like I was saying, development management is one of the courses that is offered by ISDM, Indian School of Development Management, and it is a one-year post-graduation program. So in that program, there are various things that you can learn. So for example, in development management, one of the courses sustainability related courses, wherein you understand how to, what are the different types of ways where we can scale a program, and how do you create a more sustainable model or sustainable project. Moving ahead, we have behavioral change communication as one of the subjects, wherein you learn about how to nudge people, or how to, different nudging techniques on how to, change perspectives of different kinds of different sets of people, and how to actually get a community buy. We have technology and talent and marketing management as well, wherein we are blending technology to magnify our impacts. So it's basically also understanding that how there are different social enterprises now as well at play. So understanding the marketing principles and how you can establish your own social enterprise. We then have organizational management, which tells us about the effective management of the teams, your projects, your programs at place. And then we also have different writing courses, like we said, and I think we had these discussions earlier also, that the work now involves a lot of technicalities. We now require how to draft a proposal. We need to know how to, make a grant proposal. We need to know how to draft an MOU. We need to know various kinds of documentations that come in place. And these are parts of different roles that we have and we talked about earlier. So all these courses that we are speaking of actually equips you to better understand the sector and also to make you eligible for any role within the sector. So the pedagogy of ISDM is very interesting. We focus a lot on experiential learning. So with that, we basically focus on how we can engage into different activities and different kinds of experiments that will be conducted during that 1 year period. We also believe in peer learning a lot, and we have professional learning committees when you actually join this the course. You are divided into different groups, and throughout a term you will basically be working in that particular group to understand how you can to understand how we can develop the program together. So apart from that, we can also we have the Realizing India as a part of the program, which is basically a 15 to 20 days course wherein you understand the real life application of this program. So we have a wide range of faculty members as well. So which are actually sourced from around the world, and we have, for example, the CEO from Oxfam, and then we have the director from Prava, and we also have the country director from Group to Read India. So these group of faculties are actually sourced around the world to curate who takes one of these sessions and who actually make or design these courses for you. So very lastly, actually ISDM has been able to form a community of its own. So currently we have around 400 plus alums who are actually working actively in this sector. We have more than 75 global facilitators, as well as we have almost 350 plus placement partners. So ISDM promises a 100% placement, and I have my own experience in it. And we have around, like I said, the highest pay in the ISDM goes around 16 LPA that we have witnessed so far. And the average pay is around 6.5 lakhs. And this is how in the development sector we have been able to mark our presence. So all the admission related details, we are running short of time. So all the admission related details you'll have in the diaries that we have just given you. So you will find all the details regarding the course as well in that. So with that, I would like to actually wind my speech here. And if there are any questions, I feel like we can go ahead. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Priyanka, for your revered insights and observations. I hope this session has sparked new ideas will guide your work as social work professionals. We are now entering an exciting phase of our day, the partner presentations, where we'll have the privilege of hearing from our esteemed partners who are playing a pivotal role in creating social impact across various sectors. Before we break for lunch, we have allocated a dedicated session for our partners to share their valuable work. 3 minutes each, not more than that. They'll share their work, contributions and insights. So let's begin our partner presentations. The first partner that we have is Street Corner, our official treat partner, awarded the best franchise in Northeast 2024. They will talk to us about their initiative and how they are engaging with social impact in their unique way. Each of these organizations will get 3 to 4 minutes each because we'll have to break for lunch post that. And I hope you're very excited. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's truly an honor to stand before this distinguished gathering of change makers, social work professionals, and visionary dedicated to the uplifting communities across Northeast. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the organizers of first Northeast Conclave, Social Work Conclave 2025. It's creating this incredible platform for collaboration and meaningful dialogues. My name is Sunil Kakuria, founder of Street Corner, with a simple vision of giving fast food, quality fast food at affordable price while creating opportunities across Northeast. Today, within just a year, we have expanded to 9 outlets within a span of 1 year, and our journey has been recognized with the Best Food Franchisee Award in 2024 by Indian Awas Foundation. At Street Corner, we believe that growth is meaningful only when it uplifts others. That's why we have embedded our social responsibilities into our core values. Some of the tasks, some of the things that we are doing is empowering rural youth. The Northeast is brimming with the talented young talents, and yet many lack of opportunity because of they are not being able to access a lot of opportunities. We have taken the initiative by hiring people from rural belt, we train them, we skill them, and finally we give them an opportunity as an employment in our own outlets. Secondly, we create job building livelihoods also. From chefs to managers and delivery partners, Street Corner has created a job opportunities for many like youth talents, while we ensure that there is a stable source of income for their families. Then we do not stop at the employment. We mentor aspiring entrepreneurs from the rural belt and help them to establish their food business by guiding them, giving the business insights. And now lastly, the strengthening the local supply chain. Instead of relying on the big food suppliers, we source our fresh produce from the local suppliers by supporting them. This is how we are helping them, the local vendors and the suppliers, to strengthen their journey with us. At Street Corner, we see food as a more than just a food business. It is a medium of empowerment, connection, and change. We don't just serve meal, we serve dream, aspirations, and promise of a better future with us. But we cannot do this alone. That is why a forum like this is so important. Together, business, social workers, and change makers can collaborate, innovate, and drive real impact. Northeast India is at the cusp of transformation, and each of the here has the shape its future. As we move forward, Treat Corner remains committed to expanding, creating more jobs, empowering youth, and strengthening our ties with the local communities. So now with this note, I would like to thank you, all of you, who have shown your patience, and let us create a Northeast a hub for pushing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sunil. And thank you to the entire team at Treat Corner for your inspiring work and dedication to social impact. We truly appreciate the valuable contribution you are making to this journey of social change. Treat Corner's food coupons will be given away as prizes for participating and answering well during the interactive sessions that will follow post-lunch. Next up, we have Admissify, our education and career partner. Admissify is dedicated to helping students explore career opportunities and higher education support. They offer career guidance, internships, country-specific guidance for students who want to study abroad, profile building and soft skills development. Let's hear it from the representative of Admissify, who will share more about their initiatives. Please give him a warm welcome. Mr. Nazim Ahmed is going to felicitate him. So Admissify's food coupons will be available throughout the sessions post-lunch. We'll have a Q&A session, then we have panel discussion where there will be an interactive session post a panel discussion. So in these sessions, we expect post-lunch the audience to speak to us, to interact with us. Mics will be given out to anybody who wants to answer or state an observation or offer some insight. For those people, we will give away food coupons from Treat Corner. Using these food coupons, they can go to any of the outlets of Treat Corner in Guwahati and they can avail food for free using these coupons. So bring your best foot forward and do your best and blow our minds. A huge round of applause for the Admissify representative who will introduce himself. Thank you so much. They are education and career partner. The stage is yours.
Before he speaks about it, I just want to make an announcement. All the partners that you are seeing here in this conclave is not one-day collaboration. They were supporting us since a long collaboration. We have various other events that we do, and that's how we connect with various brands. So today there are 50 NGOs, maybe in upcoming NGO conclave or social work conclave, we will be partners as well. So we look for the long-term collaborations. And Admissify here, why I will have a voice for them, because when we were students, we were not having a guide like where do we study or what are the scholarships available, especially with regards to scholarship. So we have tried to connect many social work students who wanted to go outside. So that is the only reason we brought them, just to enlighten you with their purpose. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Usually, whenever I go to place, I don't use the mic to speak out. So my name is Swade Laskar. I'm an ex-alumnus of University of Manchester and Huddersfield from the UK in the year 2013. So it's been now a journey of 13 years in an education consulting as an app developer. So I'm representing here that Admissify, which is a UK-based, an app-based as well as an offline-based counseling plus higher education format. So first of all, when Nazim has been a long, well-known younger brother or a friend for me who approached in terms of social care, how can we correlate and how can we do the community development. So I was finding out a reason how can Admissify be a useful resource. And even for me, I know I have to make myself out of an earning. How can I make it my bread earning at the same time I can do good for the society. So then we came with a plan. We have n number of consultants in complete of Northeast of Pan India, but none of the companies are promoting the public universities. Or we don't make an effort to know about the various courses and opportunities available. And I can see few of our parents who have taken and trusted us and are here today, and I think if they believe with us the same thing, the different wide range of courses, especially in the field of social work today, and that's the main reason why Admissify is here and would be a journey if you're looking for a higher prospect in terms of education. Today, Admissify is not only bridging the 7 sister states, we have helped more than 138 students with more than 60% of scholarships. There are state governments making initiatives, recent announcement, especially if there is anyone from the government of Arunachal where they are going to sponsor more than 150 students this year with 100% scholarship. Anyone going for programs related to social welfare and social development. So this is a very big announcement I am making very openly here. It's a government announcement should be made. So likewise, every government is taking an initiative, but it's we who stop ourselves rather than not thinking about a higher education. The right way we say earlier, we never heard of the course MSW or BSW. I think it's a recent change in last 15, 17 years. All of us will agree on that. And with recent changes, and all our panelists or the people who have spoken out have said these are the courses which are going to be very great demand in the near future. Earlier it was an area in the Northeast only the doctors and the engineers, but right now I can tell you very honestly, it's the skill-based industry or skill-based careers. Any field you are working in, any course you are going to learn for is going to be beneficial for you if you know what you are going and what you are passionate about it. So I will not take much of the time because it's a platform majorly for the people who are doing major role in these social initiatives. We are trying to put some of our efforts in helping the students, especially from the Northeast and the Pan India, to get the high maximum amount of scholarships and reaching the right destination university, top 200 universities in the world. But yes, with last statement I want to end up that there is no such university in the world except for in India where percentage is being set as a criteria for your admissions. It's your overall performance over the last 5 years being taken into accountability. So that's where it's plays a very important role. Thirdly, I made some of the colleges might get offended to hear because I'm promoting here majorly the global public universities. None of the Indian institutions are in top 120 universities of the world. So I think you should start thinking from now if you have a dream to study in the top 100 universities of the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Suhaid, for sharing such valuable insights into how Admissify is supporting the future of social work through education and career opportunities. Now we will break for lunch, but before that, there's a quick reminder for all of you. Have you visited our pledge wall yet? We have already received some amazing commitments from speakers, students and professionals